I still remember the exact moment my marriage cracked. Not shattered. Not exploded. Cracked. It was a quiet evening. No storm outside. No shouting inside. Just the dull hum of the ceiling fan and the weight of years sitting between us on the couch. She didn't look angry. That's what scared me the most. She stared at the wall, not at me, and said it like she was talking about the weather. I hate being with you. No pause. No apology. No emotion. I waited for her to add something. A reason. A joke. A correction. She didn't. Those 5 words landed softly, but they sank deep. I felt something strange inside me. Not rage. Not sadness. Something quieter. Acceptance. I asked, calmly, since when? She sighed, annoyed. I don't know. A long time. I just feel trapped. You're not a bad person. I'm just tired of this. She waved her hand between us like our entire life together was clutter on a table. That hurt more than the words. I nodded. That surprised her. She expected a reaction. She always did. An argument. A defense. A promise to change. Instead, I stood up. I'm going to pack, I said gently. Her head snapped toward me. Pack what? My bags. She laughed. A short, careless laugh. You're being dramatic. I didn't respond. I walked into the bedroom. Each step felt heavy but steady. I opened the closet. My clothes were still neatly folded. She liked order. She liked control. I pulled out a suitcase. That's when my hands started shaking. Not because I was weak. Because I had been strong for too long. I folded shirts slowly. Methodically. Like if I rushed, I might fall apart. Behind me, she appeared in the doorway. You're really doing this? She asked, irritation creeping into her voice. I didn't look up. Yes. For what? One sentence? I finally turned toward her. No, I said quietly. For all the sentences you didn't care enough to notice. She scoffed. So you're just going to leave? That's it? I zipped the suitcase halfway and stopped. I didn't leave. I said. You already did. I'm just catching up. Her smile faded. For the first time that night. She looked uncertain. But she still didn't stop me. And that silence? That was the loudest sound in the room. I closed the suitcase. And that's when she realized something was truly wrong. But by then, it was already too late. The silence she didn't expect. I didn't leave that night. That surprised her. I placed the suitcase near the door, turned off the bedroom light, and slept on the couch like it was just another ordinary disagreement. But nothing was ordinary anymore. In the morning, I woke up before her. Not out of habit, out of clarity. I made coffee. 2 cups. I always made 2. When she came into the kitchen, her eyes went straight to the suitcase. It was still there. She frowned. So, what's this? She asked, nodding toward it. I slid 1 cup of coffee toward her. Coffee, I said. She rolled her eyes. I mean the bag. I told you, I replied calmly. I'm packing. But you're still here. Yes. That confused her. I could see it on her face, she didn't know which version of me she was dealing with. The angry one? The emotional one? The apologetic one? None of them showed up. I drank my coffee in silence. No explanations. No speeches. No accusations. And that unsettled her. Throughout the day, she tested me. She complained about work. I listened. Nodded. Offered kindness, not closeness. She made a sarcastic comment about how quiet I was. I smiled. You said you hated being with me. I didn't want to bother you. That hit harder than any argument ever had. She stared at me like she wanted to say something, then didn't. That night, she reached for her phone instead of starting a fight. So did I. But I wasn't texting anyone. I was writing a list. Not of her mistakes. Of mine. Times I stayed silent to keep peace. Times I accepted crumbs and called it love. Times I told myself this is just how marriage is. The suitcase stayed by the door. Day 2. She began asking questions, casually at first. So, where would you even go? I haven't decided. With who? No one. That answer bothered her more than if I'd named someone. On day 3, she snapped. You're acting like I don't exist. I looked up slowly. I exist, I said. I just stopped begging you to notice. Her voice cracked for a second, just a second. Then pride took over. Well, if you want to leave so badly, just go. I nodded. I will. She expected anger. She got agreement. That night, she didn't sleep. I know because I heard her pacing. Opening and closing doors. Standing near the suitcase. Waiting. For what, I wasn't sure. An apology? A breakdown? A scene? None came. On the 4th morning, I moved the suitcase closer to the door. That's when fear finally crept into her voice. You're really serious, she whispered. I looked at her, truly looked at her, and for the first time in years, I didn't feel the urge to fix things alone. Yes, I said gently. I am. Her eyes filled, not with tears yet. With realization. She had pushed. And pushed. And pushed. And now, something was moving. Something she could no longer control. That evening, she stood in front of the door, arms crossed. You're not just leaving like this, she said. I picked up the suitcase handle. Like what? I asked softly. She opened her mouth. Then closed it. Because for the first time, she didn't know what to say. The day I actually left. The house felt different that morning. Not emptier. Heavier. Like it knew something was ending and didn't know how to stop it. I woke up before sunrise. The sky outside was gray, undecided, just like the last few years of my life. I showered quietly. Dressed carefully. Not like someone running away. Like someone finally choosing himself. When I stepped into the living room, she was already there. Sitting on the couch. Eyes red. Phone untouched beside her. She had been awake all night. You're really leaving today, she said. Not a question. Yes. Her voice dropped. So that's it? After everything? I paused. After everything. Those words always sounded heavier when spoken by the person who did the least to save it. I didn't decide this today, I said calmly. I just stopped delaying it. She stood up quickly. You're doing this to punish me. I shook my head. No. I'm doing this because staying was punishing me. That's when the tears came. Not dramatic. Not loud. Just quiet tears sliding down her face, the kind that scare you because they're real. I didn't mean it like that, she said. When I said I hated being with you. I looked at her. You didn't say it in anger, I replied. You said it in truth. She stepped closer. I was just overwhelmed. People say things. Yes, I said. And people hear them. She reached for my arm. I didn't pull away. But I didn't hold her either. That hurt her more. "You're so calm," she whispered. "Why are you so calm?" "Because if I let myself feel everything at once, I wouldn't survive it." "I already did my breaking," I said. "This is the quiet part after." She shook her head desperately. "We can fix this. We always fix things." I picked up the suitcase. "No," I said softly. "I fixed things. You tolerated them." Her breathing became uneven. "So what am I supposed to do now?" she asked. That question told me everything. Not what should we do. What am I supposed to do without the person who absorbed all the damage? I walked to the door. My hand rested on the handle. Behind me, her voice shattered. "Please don't go like this." I turned around one last time. "I'm not leaving to hurt you," I said. "I'm leaving because staying taught you that hurting me had no cost." She collapsed onto the couch. I opened the door. The hallway outside looked ordinary. That's the cruel part about endings. The world doesn't stop. I stepped out. And then she ran after me. Barefoot. Crying. No pride left. "What if I change?" she begged. "What if I finally try?" I looked at her, truly looked. "I hope you do," I said. "For me?" she asked. I shook my head. "For yourself." The door closed behind me. And on the other side of it, she finally understood what my silence had been saying all along. Her breakdown. I thought leaving would bring peace. Instead, it brought silence so loud it followed me everywhere. The first night alone, I didn't unpack. I sat on the edge of the bed, suitcase still closed, listening to a clock tick like it was counting everything I had lost and everything I had finally stopped sacrificing. Across town, she was unraveling. I didn't know that yet. I only felt it. The next morning, my phone buzzed. One message. "Can we talk?" No apology. No explanation. Just fear. I didn't respond. Not out of cruelty. Out of survival. Hours passed. Then another message. "I can't stop thinking about what I said." Then another. "The house feels wrong without you." By nightfall, the messages stopped. That scared me more than the begging. Because silence, when it finally reaches the person who caused it, feels like drowning. She told me later what that night was like. How she sat on the floor of the bedroom, surrounded by the version of our life she thought would never leave. How she replayed that sentence, "I hate being with you," over and over, hearing it this time through my ears, not hers. She said she finally understood something terrifying. She hadn't meant hate. She had meant comfort without effort. And she had confused the two. On the third day, she showed up where I was staying. I opened the door and barely recognized her. No makeup. Hair messy. Eyes swollen. She wasn't angry. That version of her was gone. "I didn't come to fight," she said quickly. I need to say this out loud." I stepped aside. She didn't sit. She paced. "I didn't realize how much you carried," she said, voice shaking. "Because you never complained. You just adjusted. And I let you." She finally looked at me. "And I broke you quietly." I felt something crack inside my chest. Not pain. Relief. She continued, words spilling now. "I thought love meant you'd always stay. No matter what I said. No matter how careless I was. I didn't think there would ever be a day where you chose yourself over me." She swallowed hard. "And now that you did, I don't know who I am without you absorbing all my damage." Tears fell freely now. "I miss you," she whispered. "Not the version that fixes everything. The version that felt safe. I sat down slowly. Do you know why I left? I asked. She nodded. Because I made you feel unwanted. No, I corrected gently. Because I stayed long enough to teach you that my pain was manageable. That broke her. She collapsed into the chair, covering her face. I don't want to lose you, she cried. But I don't know how to love you the right way. For the first time, she wasn't asking me to save us. She was admitting she didn't know how. And that finally was honest. I didn't promise anything. I didn't comfort her. I simply said the hardest truth I knew. Love can't survive where respect arrives too late. She nodded through tears. I know. When she left, she didn't ask when I'd come back. She asked something else. If you never do, will this still change me? I answered honestly. It has to. Because endings only matter if they teach us something. The ending no one expects. Weeks passed. The house was quiet. The air felt lighter and heavier at the same time. I didn't check her messages. I didn't ask how she was coping. I focused on myself. It was strange at first. Freedom felt foreign. I cooked my own meals. I slept without someone's judgmental gaze. I even smiled without guilt. And slowly, I began to heal. Then one evening, she called. Her voice was soft, hesitant. I've changed, she said. I paused. The urge to respond immediately was strong. But I didn't. Show me, I said instead. It wasn't about proving love. It was about proving growth. She didn't argue. She didn't beg. She started showing it not just to me, but to herself. She began respecting boundaries. She began appreciating the quiet moments we used to take for granted. She began listening, really listening. We didn't go back to how things were. That wasn't possible. We went forward, but differently. Love didn't return as a wildfire. It returned as embers, slow, steady, warm. Strong enough to rebuild, but fragile enough to remind us of the lessons we almost ignored. One night, sitting across from each other over dinner, no arguments, no pretense, she reached for my hand. I'm sorry, she said, her eyes full of honesty. I know I hurt you. I know I almost lost you. I nodded. I know, I replied. But more importantly, I know we can do better if we try. She smiled softly. And I realized something: silence had taught her more than any fight ever could. Leaving had taught me more than staying ever would. We weren't perfect. We weren't the same people we used to be. But we were still willing to choose each other. And this time, it was a choice, not a habit. I closed my eyes for a moment and felt something I hadn't in years: peace. Not because the pain was gone. Not because the past was erased. But because finally, both of us understood the weight of words. And the value of respect, kindness, and quiet love. And in that moment, I realized the greatest lesson of all. Sometimes leaving isn't the end of a marriage. It's the beginning of truly seeing each other.